right. Who's next?
I won't go too long because I haven't really done that much out of the ordinary. But I've just been like in a very much explore things that are not Destiny kind of vibe.
Oh man.
I
think this was the week to do that. Huh?
I'm like in that vibe too. I'm like,
right,
explore something other than Fallout 76.
The things that you're playing with a lot. Yeah. I don't know, man. Just like mainlining that shit for so long, and just feeling the need to kind of expand outward. So
I encourage it.
The Switch is crucial to this because I can just obviously pick it up and play it whenever. So I am in my Stardew Valley save. I am now the farthest I've ever been in a Stardew Valley save without restarting. And I have played Stardew since day one on PC only. So now I am farming ancient fruit, which is the most... Actually, it's the second most profitable fruit in the game. But the first most profitable requires you to plant every time you want to harvest it because it doesn't regrow. Ancient fruit regrows after you harvest it. So you save time and money by not having to rebuy seeds. You know, it's a longer startup time because you have to... I think you get one seed as a reward for an ancient fruit. And I want to fill my entire greenhouse with this. So every fruit that I get, I'm not even turning a profit yet. I'm turning my fruit into more seeds. So I'm going to plant more for the future. Then that'll be harvested into wine. Then I'm going to age the wine. And then I'll just have this whole little vineyard of ancient fruit.
Did you marry somebody?
I did not, no. But I've started to hang out with Leah. Leah's one of the
I know that's... I don't
people
know
in the
the
town.
game, but I know like that's a part of the game.
Yeah, you can actually interact with townspeople. There's people that you can be friends with. There's people that you can marry. There's people that were originally just townspeople, but now they've updated it so you can kind of like divorce their families and shit and break up the people. Yeah.
Trip wants to end this relationship.
Yeah, yep. It's my turn now, bitch.
Yeah.
No, but like I'm going to just fund all of my endeavors around Stardew Valley. So I'm excited. I'm great.
Are you going to stream it?
I almost did today because I was kind of in a different vibe again. But today I decided to stream Final Fantasy XIV.
I saw that.
Yeah.
What wanted you... Is it the drive to get through the story? Or is it just like, I want to play some MMO casual fun stuff?
Both.
Okay.
The desire to be in a different world was like, oh, cool, I'm going to see what's happening in Final Fantasy XIV. Then I'm like, oh, I forget how to do everything efficiently in this game.
My hot bars.
I have no idea what's happening.
Hot bars.
But at the same time, I was like, well, I can kill two birds with one stone because, yes, I do have this just immense amount of quests between A Realm Reborn and Heavensward.
It's immense.
And today I literally got through 2 primal fights. I did Leviathan and Ramuh.
Very cool. Those are fun fights.
Yeah,
those are cool.
I used the party finder trick, doing it unlevel synced that Rowan showed us.
Yeah.
So what this means, Felix, normally when you get to like a big boss fight in Final Fantasy, especially early on in the online game, you can queue up to just join a party of people that are doing the same thing.
Oh, great!
These major boss fights.
It's amazing. It's super, super cool. Whatever like class you are, it even fills out the classes. So you won't ever get a party of 8 damage dealers with no healers. You're going to get 2 healers, 2 tanks, 4 damage dealers, and just be this perfect set of people to go in. The problem with doing that for what I'm at now is that none of the player base is doing what I'm doing now, except it's few and far between.
Yeah, they moved on.
So my queue times are going to be incredibly long, and by the time I get it, I'll probably have new players, and we're going to be just level checked, and it's going to be fighting all the hard mechanics of these bosses.
Is this functionality the same as a dungeon finder?
Correct.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Same exact concept.
Okay.
Yeah. But
because I use Dungeon Finder in Elder Scrolls Online.
Right. It's literally the same kind of thing. But what I'm doing is actually leaving the Dungeon Finder and going to a separate system in the game called just like a Party Finder, where you list the activities you want to do.
They just added that to Elder Scrolls.
So what I do is we go in there and I say I want to do this fight unsynced, not level synced.
Right.
So I change all my settings to make that a possibility. I gather people. We don't even need the correct people, even compositions. I think I went into one of these fights with 4 damage dealers, no healers. But with the fact that everyone is so much higher and just jumps in to help
you can do the same.
You can ignore all the mechanics, burn the boss in 2
Elder
seconds.
Scrolls, you can restrict it to, like, I only want, when I form this party, I only want exactly what we need, a tank, a damage
Yes,
dealer.
you can do all of that as well.
You can restrict it, and then you'll only get the randos that come in will only be the ones that you wanted.
Yeah, but I'm saying, like, ignore level requirement, ignore party requirement, just whoever is, like,
I don't know
level
if it has
80 is
that
the
much,
highest.
I don't know if it has that much freedom, but it's close.
Yeah, but
It's a
people
similar
were
concept.
so awesome today. And, like, I was a little bit nervous, honestly, hopping back in.
Being a little nub.
And I'm like, how do I do this stuff again? I'm like, oh, God. I'm like, well, if I don't do the party thing, I'm not getting a boss fight done today. I didn't even count on 2. I was like, can I just see this happen? So I was like, all right, I'll put the thing out there, put the invite, and everyone that joined my party was like, oh, dude, hit me up. Let's be friends. Like, I'll help whenever. And I hit him up about an hour later. I'm like, hey, I'm at the Ramu fight. You guys want to come through? Like, hell yeah. They jump back in. So like, there is no community that I've found across any online game that has been more welcoming across the board on a nonstop, consistent level than Final Fantasy XIV.
They're pretty good.
That has been proven to me personally in my own experience time and time again. And there are a lot of positive communities and positive pockets in communities that people consider toxic too. But just across the board, top to bottom, positive. Final Fantasy XIV
People love the game. They love playing the game.
All the time.
They love getting other people to play it with
all
them.
the time. Everyone is so nice and so helpful.
I don't remember what they're called. And okay, so there's dungeons, which are locations on the map. I kind of play Elder Scrolls the way no one else plays it. I play it like it's a giant open world Elder Scrolls game.
Sure.
And I go through all the collectibles. So what you're describing, is it like this? So we have dungeons you go to, but there's also a dungeon finder. You don't even have to go into the world to get to the dungeon finder. You just load it up. But then there's also these collectibles. They're not collectibles. They're in-world boss fights that are peppered all over the map. Those I can't do because I always play the game solo. And when you walk into the area where that boss is, literally there has to be a coincidence of some dickhead there in order for me to do it.
I'm familiar.
Is that what you're describing?
I'm familiar with this case. I mean,
somewhat.
yes.
To answer your question just right off the bat, yeah, there are standalone boss fights that are not dungeons.
That you should not solo in the world.
And you cannot.
And you can't, and it doesn't prompt you and offer you to bring people in for those.
Well, technically, if you ignore need a full party, you can hop in.
So World of Warcraft does something like this too. There are literal world bosses that you can encounter as you're leveling and doing your thing that are going to be skulls for you no matter what. They are literally world raid bosses.
Yeah.
That in the original WoW, they were designed for you and your guild or whoever to go, we're going to party up in the world without queuing anywhere.
Yeah.
And we're going to rush this location and we're going to take down this dragon.
I know.
Is it like a always there public event kind of thing?
Always there public. Yeah, exactly. And this dragon in World of Warcraft will live specifically in this crater. And that's where he roams, and you have to go there. Yeah.
But you know what's punching the tip of my collector's dick, like right in the dickhead, like punching the hole, is the fact that the goddamn thing is there as a collector's item in a list.
If you beat it, it gets added to your list as something that you did. Oh, that bugs the shit out of you.
Literally, I have to find friends in order to fucking do these, and that bites a chode, dude. That's
the idea of like the MMO there, right? Like they got to create they got to create these group activities, right? Like they need to give you incentive to group up.
I want to play all of the Tamriel. That's what I want. I don't want
by
the
yourself.
Fuck
you
the
just
people.
want want more Tamriel, less people.
I'm playing Skyrim, only Baker.
To play Skyrim.
That's the whole drive.
But I don't have all the other parts.
But in Final Fantasy XIV's case, there are different size encounters. There are stronger elite enemies on the world that will require you to have at least a party of 4 people.
Are those the like you're talking about the fates?
Fates, yes. Those are the random encounters. But there are also like special named bosses, which later you haven't gotten to this yet, but they're called hunts.
Yeah.
And you pick up bounties for these monsters in the world, and they're tougher than any of the other walking monsters, and they give you rewards for cool things.
Yeah,
just like as you do. You did 2 bosses. Unranked dungeon finders. It's pretty cool.
Smacked them, dude. Level 80s were rolling in, just ignoring.
Let's do it.
Ignore all the fight mechanics, burn them down.
Fuck mechanics, kill bitches. Right?
Literally, didn't even get healed. Just didn't even matter.
When Rowan and I, last 2 years ago or whatever, we were deep in Stormblood. That's what we were going let's get this horse mount. And we would just farm this boss over and over.
Yeah, I got a rare mount doing this months ago.
You're right. I think I remember.
It might have been the Garuda fight or something. But I got this mount to drop Felix that people grind this thing for super, super long because the mount is so rare. And I got both mounts to drop for me in the game. I got the one that everyone gets, and I got the really, really rare one. So I was like, well, I'm just gonna pop this on.
And that's a good incentive to go back and do those things.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Here, let me ask you this: if this exists in that game, so there's this thing called a dungeon, and through the dungeon finder, there's actually 3 types of dungeons in this fucking game, or 4, if I really think about it. There's one really big one where you can't join it without a party of like fucking 8 to 12. Right?
We would call those like raids.
Yeah, like a raid dungeon. So there's those, and those are locations, and I don't really care whether I get those or not.
Right.
Then there's another thing called, they call them, I can't remember what they call, but they can be done by one person. You go in there, and sometimes they're public because there's other people running through them. And I do those pretty regularly, and you can earn a lot of shit in there and whatever, and chests and stuff like that. And then there's another classification called a public dungeon. That's what it's called.
Yeah.
And there's a full story quest in the public dungeon with multiple, like, parts.
Yeah.
It's almost like this was something that was supposed to be a part of the main story, and they couldn't figure out where to fit it, so they said, fuck it, let's just put it in this thing called a public dungeon. And every single section of Tamriel has one public dungeon in it that you can go to. And it counts. But the thing that's fucked about the public dungeons is they're not easy, and you can't solo them.
Right.
And there's so many high-level enemies in there, but there's also these collectibles. So the way I have to do these is I have to run through, healing myself the whole
and
time.
just ignore all the enemies.
Ignore the enemies.
Scoop the things you want.
Scoop the things I want, the collectibles,
My
and
God,
run
dude.
out. Because there's never, ever people in these fucking weird public dungeons.
Yeah, yeah.
And they have no matchmaking in them.
It's weird.
Yeah, they're not.
You'd have to use a party finder, type what you want, and then join up, then do the thing, probably.
Back in the day, before we had these fancy
Back in my day.
looking for group party finders, we used to yell in general chat, hey,
You
who
just-
wants to
you
group
just-
up
yeah.
for this activity?
/SH.
LFG.
Yeah.
Dude, I think I'm playing an MMO
The
wrong.
best Final Fantasy
wrong.
XI had was the exclamation point above your head, indicating that you had an interest in finding a party. But that's
Yeah.
all.
That's pretty basic.
Yeah.
How wrong am I playing an MMO? When I go in there, I have all the
entirely.
chat shit turned off.
Entirely. You could not be playing more wrong. If the sliders is 0 to 100,
we're
you're
glad you're
negative.
having fun, but damn, dude.
You're in the negative
Time,
numbers.
dude.
Yeah.
All the
Play
chat
how
shit
you want, but
turned off.
Jesus, you're wrong. No.
There are dungeons like that in Final Fantasy XIV that have like a story purpose, kind of. Actually, every major
Pretty
dungeon,
much, yeah.
as you follow the story, has a story
No,
component.
so do the ones that are dungeons that the dungeon finder works
You do
with.
things in there that are story related. There are mechanics
Yeah.
to the dungeon, and then also the main boss, and then
But this is what I'm talking about. There's this other thing called a public dungeon
where
that
there
has no
are
matchmaking.
collectibles.
You walk in it and you get fucking handed, and there's no matchmaking. So you just got to run through to get your collectibles
Gotta
and
bring
run
a party,
out.
dude.
Gotta do it,
Gotta
dude.
bring a party.
But yeah, that's what I've been doing.
Final Fantasy 14 is a great
Actually,
game.
and literally last night, I'm not going to talk much because I've only played it for an hour, which is mostly cutscenes, which is how these games are. But I bought, oh God, the blank as soon as I'm about to drop the name, the Fire Emblem
Three Houses.
Persona crossover game that was on the Wii U. Oh my God, dude, I'm so
There's
sorry.
a Persona crossover with Fire
It's
Emblem?
like it's not Persona, but it's
Warriors?
No,
Three Houses?
no.
That's it. That's the extent of my Fire
Oh
Emblem
my God,
knowledge.
dude, I don't understand
That
what
is-
happened to my
that's-
brain
that's
right
it.
now.
I
That's all I
know
got.
nothing about this shit.
Tokyo Mirage Sessions. Oh my God, dude.
Oh.
Holy shit. I am sorry to everyone listening to this show.
You're going to have to run me through what it is. Is this like a rhythm game?
Tokyo Mirage Sessions is just literally a Shin Megami or Persona style RPG mixed with characters from Fire Emblem. That's literally all it is.
Oh.
And
Oh. So they
And-
just remixed like how you fight and is there a story?
yeah, there's a story. You're a high school kid like you always are in these
Okay.
games.
Sure.
And
JRPG.
of course there's like the weird magical thing that happens in the world that requires supernatural assistance. The supernatural assistants are these Fire Emblem characters that exist in like a parallel dimension that you channel their power to fight these monsters.
God,
It's literally just a Persona style game.
Japan makes the craziest. Like, let's take the games that
It's
we blah, blah,
it's
blah,
wacky, dude.
and mash them up. And
The story is that you're a high school student and your friend wants to be an idol, and then at an idol like tryout, everyone gets attacked by these evil spirits.
oh shit!
Yeah, but then you just get power by accident because your friend, your high school classmate, is actually like a hero that does this normally,
This
who's been
is-
living a secret life.
This is
So
like
there's-
one of my Japanese animes.
It's exactly like there's even animated cutscenes to watch too, not just game cutscenes. They do a lot of actual
Like-
anime,
like
like any
full
other
on-
Persona. Yeah.
Oh my god!
But like it was a kind of a nice like trope buckling a little bit because it isn't even like someone with power finds the protagonist and goes, "We need you to help us. Here's power now to fight this big thing that's a threat to humans." It's like your friend in high school has been doing this for years, and you stumbled across it because you just got in the way. You were there when this shit attacked.
That's a very anime thing.
So they're like, "All right, here you go. You now take this sword." This production company music studio is actually a front for these ghost hunters. Like it's so anime.
Off the top of my head, that's the plot for the show Bleach.
It's anime.
That is literally
shit.
Bleach.
Yeah.
So My Hero Academia is pretty much that too.
That last night before I went to bed. So we'll see how that goes.
Hell yeah.
But I've been looking to either like re-download Persona 4 on the go, on the Vita, or play 5 remotely. But like I just have been vibing that kind of game, but in like the chill mode, which the Switch provides. So I'm like, let me just do Tokyo Mirage Sessions.
But as the beginning of the podcast states, you can take your phone and you can play on it. It has an on-screen keyboard. If it doesn't require that much dexterity, like a JRPG doesn't usually require,
just do the controls.
You can do the on-screen controls, and that's the thing.
It's true. I'll look into it for sure.
I
mean, I have the computer and the control. There's a lot of options for remote play.
I would not do touch.
That requires a little bit more dexterity and precision.